After what was established in last week's episode, it was pretty clear that NOE was going to have to fight Vanitas. I mean, I just didn't see a way around it. There was no way he was going to let him suck his blood, so therefore conflict was in order. I just wasn't expecting the fight to go as hard as it did, both with visual directing. I mean, the choice of having it be so dark at points and just seeing the rain more so than the characters, and then the lights coming on and seeing just how much more damage was done to the other, from guns to blades, and just the idea of looking at one's reflection with NOE near the end there, recognizing that he can't even remember his friend's face, he can't even recognize himself anymore, and then realizing that being free for him is actually being alone. And I mean, if you needed a cliffhanger to sell people on watching the last episode for maybe ever or for who knows how long, the idea of not knowing did he stab or not is probably a pretty good way to sell people on watching said last episode. Though, I do have one big question, and that revolves around our boy Vanitas, because he has this little memory that played in the episode. Didn't see anything, but we just heard it. Never let anyone suck your blood. It was along those lines in terms of words. And I'm very curious if one of two things is about to happen. One, he is misremembering what he was supposed to do. Maybe it was more so, don't let random people suck your blood, but maybe, because you have these secrets, we don't want it to be exposed to the world, and I want to keep you safe. And then in doing so, has lived a pretty lonely life trying to keep that promise in order. Or is it misremembered completely, and is that going to be something that's going to be realized when NOE most likely sucks his blood next week? Either way, I'm interested to see, because if you needed a character to, pull on your heartstrings, I think this episode did so with the entire dynamic, Dami and John. I mean, that's tragic enough. I mean, the fact that she was jumping off, and then you, of course, have two best friends who, on one hand, don't know a whole lot about the other, but on the other hand, have experienced so much in present day that you basically have to answer the question, does not knowing someone's past negate the friendship you have in the present? For some people, they would say yes, they need to know the hard times, they need to know what came before I met you. But then there's other people who will say, you know what, sometimes people have their secrets, and I'm not going to pry because the person I'm interacting with in present day, I know who that is, even if I don't know who they were before. And I think that's kind of where NOE falls from what I'm feeling. I mean, there was definitely that initial rage, and I mean, it was a hot-headed moment, all things considered. But I like the idea that rather than just having him, just feel betrayed and things like that, instead, almost from minute one of the gun being drawn on him, he's basically saying, I'm your friend. We just tell me your memories. You have your reasons to keep your secrets, I get it. But please tell me these so I don't have to watch the one that I love die. And there was some words said that I think apology is definitely going to be in order if they both survive, but the idea of pretty much locking yourself away so no matter who stands in your way, if someone tries to suck your blood, you will kill them. It's now up to, does he break free from that kind of commitment and not kill his arguably best friend? Or does he do it and regret his actions afterwards? And I don't know the answer. This is getting very brutal. And I think just having a little kid that just stand at a carnival laughing like a menace, talking about bringing father back, it's horrifying. But the thing that honestly sold me in terms of the atmosphere is just how crazy the fight continued to get in such a short amount of time. Of course, there's the feelings of confliction about, watching two characters we've come to know and love essentially fighting to the death. And then to see the number of times things just escalated, like our boy nearly getting stomped by a giant carnival bot, to then just the world kind of crumbling around them, and then just the slow buildup of them basically launching their death blow. But the difference is that NOE would never actually finish the job, right? He's holding back. He could easily kill him if he had a desire to kill. But he's never killed anyone, and he doesn't have the desire to kill him, so ultimately you can wound. But a person with a program in his head saying, if someone's trying to suck your blood, then I'm going to kill you, ultimately, that's who you would bet money is probably going to come out alive, and the other not so much. But either way, I think I might go as far as say this was my personal favorite episode of the anime today, out of all 23 episodes, mainly because it feels like something that's been built up for so long. There's always been the doubt of how close they actually are. And I think the mystery of his blood just added the final straw that so-called broke the camel's back, right? But I also don't think it's too late. I also don't think it's hopeless. And I think potentially if he didn't stab a vital organ, or if he did, I still think NOE's going to suck his blood now that they're so close together. And in doing so, potentially that will de-escalate and maybe save the entire situation. I don't know. It's a matter of, now that Dami isn't actually on the top and has to jump anymore, I'm curious to see, would he even tell the brother what he sees in the memories, even if he does see them? I don't know, but it's crazy. I think emotional, action-packed, the Fate level OST continuing to elevate a fight scene that already looks pretty damn good, but becomes that much better with that good orchestra. The one thing I am genuinely curious about is, now that we know, we basically have kind of seemingly concluded the battle, at least that's what my gut is telling me, I could see them potentially having 8 minutes or so of a flashback into his memory, and then maybe 8 minutes or so of resolving potentially this conflict, and then potentially another 8 minutes or so of kind of epilogue slice of life. But that's all going on the logic that things will work out, and if not, I'm genuinely curious to see how this arc will come to an end, because as I was told in previous comment sections, based on everything that we're seeing, episode 24, the last episode of part 2 here, will conclude the latest arc that just recently finished up. And because it's an ongoing manga, I'm generally curious to see how well of a stopping point it will be for anime onlys, because of course, manga readers, they know where the story is going to go, they're continuing to read it. But that's where I'm going to be interested to see. Are they going to add an original scene just to make it a little more satisfactory for a conclusion? Or is the arc in general just going to feel like a good stopping point for potentially ever, or just for now? That's something that definitely is on my mind, and I'm interested to see. I'm always interested to see with anime. I'm not one of those people who are opposed to anime original things. In fact, I quite like them a lot because you never know if you will get more. And I like having at least some sort of bow to tie it all up if basically the natural stopping point of what's being adapted isn't going to do that for anime watchers, because many people like myself probably aren't going to check out the manga. So either way, I'm excited to see. I'm not really worried. I'm just more excited to see what they choose to do overall. But I mean, based on the reception of the show, I don't really feel like it's going to end in a Pandora Heart situation where more people talk about you need to read the manga because the anime butchered it, because so far from what I've seen, people pretty much loved the anime even if some things were cut a little too much for their liking. But overall, this shit is insane, and yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see how they wrap it up, and of course, hopefully, maybe a few years down the line we'll be able to see another season, but if not, I mean, what better way to go out with a bang than seemingly two best friends going at it, and hopefully repairing it before it's too late. But let me know your thoughts, feelings down below. Favorite moment if you have any. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.